Hello. Been a while, huh? It really has. So, coming at you with not really a plan, but I have missed you. I have missed this platform. I have missed the opportunity and the time and the capacity to sit down and have a conversation with my imaginary audience. Although I know some of you exist. Also, look, I'm still struggling through the technical difficulties of this. Like my sign is so bright, but if I turn it down, it flickers. So you're just going to get this glowy, it's fine, right? It's like glowy and like pink and lovely. So we're just going to go with it. I don't know, like when I use my headphones, I feel like they're appropriate when I'm interviewing somebody, but when it's just me, I don't think there's a need for it because there's no like feedback. So I think we're good there. And we're just going to chat a little today. I really have had so much going on, good and bad and otherwise. And I feel the need to defrag my brain. And so that's what we're going to do today. So come along and defrag with me. I imagine if I have to do that, every woman in her 30s and 40s and 50s and whoever is listening has to do that as well, because life just keeps on lifing, as they say, as a dear friend of mine always says. And it's just, we have to keep moving with it. You know, a lot of people say to me, I don't know how you do it. Oh my gosh, you have so many kids. You work and you go to school and like while I appreciate those compliments, I actually I find it a little strange because I feel like we're all doing so much. It just looks different. Like I'll be the first to admit, yes, I have 6 kids in my house, but they're not all here all the time. We do have a blended family and there are other parents involved. And so I manage my 3 biological children mostly. Like Liam and Emily's dad is very involved and his wife is great. And we actually have a great working relationship. But I manage the way we've set up our life since divorce was that I was going to work in a flexible way in order to be able to get them to and from school, set up appointments, take care of their needs, get them to and from activities and all of that. So that's just the way we have it set up. It's not an imbalance. It is just the way it works. So for them, yes, I am constantly in motion. And I'll get into some of that shortly. And then obviously Ruby's only 2, so she requires a lot of attention. And luckily my husband is quite flexible and the best daddy in the world. And so he's very involved. But again, it is like my time and attention. When it comes to my stepkids, my stepdaughter's here. Now what? Why did the light change? Why is it changing? What do we do? Hold. Did you see that the color changed on it? Is it just me? What is happening? All right. Well, anyways, I digress. My stepkids are not here every single day of the week. The boys go back and forth, and my stepdaughter is here with us most of the time. With the kids being older, they just can make their own schedules and work and bringing stuff back and forth. Like it just works. But for their stuff, my husband and or their mom have largely managed, the logistics. And so I just want to be very clear. Like I have 6 children whom I love and adore and are mine in some way, shape, or form, in some capacity. I share them with other people who also share the I don't say burden as a negative, but share the responsibility. And so I just want to be really clear and kind of take some of that off my shoulders, because I don't want to say I don't deserve it, but I want to give credit where credit is due. And there are a lot of other people involved. So that being said, as you know, my daughter and my son both have some things that require extra attention, whether it's medical conditions or support at school. And so that does take a lot of my time. One thing that I'd like to get off my chest is the notion or the idea that, well, I guess it's not a notion or idea. I'm just going to spit it out. I feel as though it is a full-time job dealing with the schools, and getting people to do their actual full-time jobs that they're receiving paychecks for in those schools. So let me preface this by saying I know and love and adore some very talented, very compassionate, generous, kind, dedicated, professional teachers, administrators, professionals in the schools, in our school district and in others, but in our school district. And I know there are gems out there. Most of them are gems. What I can't figure out is when a child has a 504, and if you don't know what a 504 is, it is a legally binding document that spells out a child's needs and accommodations required to meet those needs in response to, say, a diagnosis or a condition or a social emotional issue or whatever. It depends. There's a lot of reasons why a child might have a 504. We'll just take Emily, for example, because I know I've shared ad nauseum about her type 1 diabetes and allergies. And so she has a 504 that dictates that she gets certain accommodations based on the way in which her conditions affect her. And there has been recent situations where not only do teachers not follow the legal document that they are provided with in the beginning of the year and have access to, and is not very long. A 504 is not typically a long document. It's like 3 or 4 pages tops. That's giving credit. It's a very short document. It's easy to read. It's in a chart. It's like it couldn't be spelled out more beautifully. They either don't read it or they just refuse to follow it. And for example, needing more time for an assignment because of missing class or having a medical condition that the parent or the child advocates for, saying, I had this issue and I had exhaustion or whatever it is. Why do I have to spend hours, emails, phone calls, going back and forth with teachers about how to follow said document, and then arguing over the semantics of said document, when really my heart is just to advocate and help my child. If anyone that knows my daughter knows that she is not lazy. She's the antithesis of lazy, probably part of her problem. She is fully committed to everything she does. She wants to do well. And the reality is she also is living with a very difficult situation with the diabetes, which chronic illness, anyone that lives with chronic illness knows the level of exhaustion that can cause affects you throughout your day, throughout your week, throughout your life. Okay. So I'm not looking for her to have a pass. I don't want her to not have to do work that she's responsible for. There's accountability. And believe me, I get on her plenty for when I feel as though she's doom scrolling and should be reading, a great American novel. I'm not looking for her to just get a pat on the back and say, we're going to pass you and do well. I want the playing field to be leveled. I want teachers and administrators to understand that if I reach out because there has been a couple of weeks or a couple of days of a difficult medical situation for her, that should be a no-brainer, easy response. It's in writing. Yet here I am, and I'm arguing with teachers and I'm arguing with administrators, and I just don't understand, because my expectation, which I guess is part of the problem, I've learned throughout life that half of these issues can be resolved with altering our own expectations, right? But my expectation would be that a teacher would go, oh my gosh, yes, you haven't reached out until whenever I started reaching out about this, March or April. I let her go 2/3 of the year before reaching out and saying, hey, I need to play the 504 card. Like, we need some help. And I guess my shock and awe was that the response from not all, but one in particular teacher was to argue the semantics instead of saying, yeah, of course she can have an extension, or here's the situation from my perspective. Here's some solutions. I just don't understand. And so this whole episode isn't supposed to be about this. So I'm going to leave this issue and move on. But that is my number one WTF, WTH, whatever, fill in the blank. What. Why is it so hard? Why is it so hard? And then beyond that, talking to administrators. This leads me to my next issue. This is a genuine question. I am not trying to prove a point here. I am not about to ask a question rhetorically. I genuinely want somebody to answer this question. When our children get to high school age, which, by the way, for some freshmen, that's as young as 13. I guess maybe that's very young. Maybe it's 14. But okay, let's call it 14 years old. Let's say 14 years old. Yes, they're in high school, but since when is it acceptable or even legal for our children to be taken off or out of school, off the school campus on a bus to another location without us being notified. What I've learned is that they're not really sure. The school is not really sure what the proper communication should be, but they certainly know they don't have it. There was no communication sent out that my daughter was taken off of campus when she had a medical issue and reached out to me, because in her 504, she is allowed to have her phone, which she uses sparingly but needs it for part of her condition. And so she reached out saying she didn't feel well. I responded, okay, go straight to the nurse. If I need to come get you, I will. And to which she responded, I can't, I'm at the bowling alley. I'm sorry, what? So apparently for PE, they go to the bowling alley, and they also go to the ice skating rink, which is also off campus. Now, luckily, they were almost done. I contacted the nurse and just said, how is this the case? My daughter doesn't feel well. She's okay. I could see her numbers. She was fine. She's coming back to school. Can you check on her, or I'll send her down when she gets there? But also, can somebody help me understand how this is the case? Not only for any child, because what if the bus gets in an accident? I'm sorry. Hi, your child has been in an accident? What? Why weren't they at school? Oh, we took them to the bowling alley. I'm sorry, I didn't know that. Yeah, we took them on the bus. It was within 5 minutes. So it should have been fine, but now we have an issue. Now you have an issue. Like, where's the liability? Where's the, just CYA moment of, we need to communicate with parents when their children aren't on campus. Then you add a child with a medical condition. And so I get a call from an administrator after I called the nurse's office, the AD, and the AP. And the AP calls me and says, yeah, I'm sorry, I guess I really don't have a better answer. We've got to fill in some of those communication gaps. What? How am I the only parent concerned about this? And the response was, well, if you don't want her doing these units off campus, we can maybe add that to her 504. Or I'm like, but this isn't just about my daughter. Yes, I'd like it added to her 504 now that I should know if she's ever off campus. But we have 5 other children. Shouldn't we know where they are? I'm actually asking, and I know my frustration is coming through a bit, but can somebody answer me? Put it in the comment section. Send me a DM. Somebody help me understand this, because that to me seems wild. Maybe you don't need permission slips after a certain age or in high school. I don't know the New York State law. I don't have the time or the capacity to look it up and see if there is legislation that would cover that. This seems crazy to me. And I also have no desire to go to the school board or be on the school board or have any type of political affiliation to make a change. My ministry is my own home. So I want the change made on my daughter's 504. But because we do have other children, I can empathize with other parents. Is it sympathize or empathize? I never really get that right. I should, but whatever. I would imagine other parents would feel this way, or are people just not paying attention? But regardless, if they're not paying attention, see what I'm doing, these mental gymnastics, we should know these things. So that's my second thing. You're welcome. This is fun, isn't it? I'm feeling better already. So if you're turned off or this isn't good for you, it's fine. This is free therapy for me. Actually, it's not free because I do pay for this service, so I needed to use it. Anyways, okay, so the school, the 504. Okay, then my oldest, my son, he is in high school and he is at a different school because he's in a different program. And I will not ever stop advocating for him at any age. And so we recently just got some news that will be beneficial to him moving forward. And he has access to some supports and some services that are going to be so helpfful for him as he transitions out of high school in a couple of years, and he's looking to go to a special arts school, and he's, going to be hopefully getting his permit and or license before he graduates. And so there's a lot of exciting things around the corner, around the bend for him. But I think, here's my point. I have been working with the Committee on Special Education for Liam since before kindergarten. So in preschool, I sounded the alarm. It is kindergarten evaluation. The district was fantastic in responding to my concerns. We started data collection in kindergarten. By the end of first grade, we had his IEP in place, and I have never stopped and he is now going to be a junior in high school. Here's my point. When it comes to things like now having a newer document and a new child within the special education realm, even though it's medically driven, where I'm stuck is I know how these things work. I'm not a parent who's coming to the game with no knowledge of what it takes or what's appropriate or how things should be done. So I'm just pointing that out because the defragging for me is not just these specific instances with my daughter, but the years and years and years of conversations and advocacy that I've had to do for my son, that now we're on a great, he's in a fantastic program and has been for all of high school and will continue through that program till the end of high school. And I'm so proud of him. And there are so many things in place that wouldn't be in place without a great team. And so I guess when it comes to this other issue, I feel like the school my daughter's at is just like, who is this? Who does she think she is? What is she doing? But also, I know what I'm doing. And that's not to be like, I know everything. I don't know it all. Obviously, I don't. I'm asking questions. But that's how I got here. I got here by asking questions. I got here by doing my research. I got here by having the tough conversations and calling people to task respectfully. Listen, I respect these teachers and administrators. I know that they're in those positions because they chose to work in education and work with children. It just sometimes is hard to not feel like some of these people are just so bothered when they have to do anything outside of what they expected to have to do that day, which, by the way, these should be part of your expectations. So that's my rant on schools. Sorry, teachers and administrators who I know and love who are excellent at your jobs. Get everybody else in line, would you? Like, round them up, have a conversation, tell them to pull up their big girl panties and start doing their work. Thank you. Please and thanks. Defrag. What's next? Why is it that my brain is so full that when I go to empty it, I can't access any of the pieces? That feels like a lot. Can we talk about drinking over 40? Obviously, I enjoy a glass of wine, hence the name of my podcast. It's not all I enjoy, but it's something I enjoy. Here's something. I cannot have really more than one glass of wine without feeling like death becomes her. So I typically don't. I don't really have wine all that often. I can't even look at liquor. Can't even look at it without feeling like I'm going to die. Going to die. So what I've discovered, helpful hint for anyone over 40 that likes to drink wine or enjoys a nice glass of wine with a nice dinner out on a date night with your husband. I think I react to the histamines. I've gone down this rabbit hole of histamine responses or histamine allergies. I don't know if I have a histamine allergy, although I might, because also I saw that if you get mosquito bites and they swell, that you likely have a histamine allergy. You can correct me on this too, but whatever. I'm going to go with it. I do get, if I get a mosquito bite and they love me, it's because I'm so sweet. Don't argue. We'll just pretend like it's fine. Move on. But they do swell. And so when I have wine, I'll wake up and my heart is racing and I'm sweating. And this is not a full bottle of wine. I'm talking more than 2 glasses or more, really, because it depends on the wine. So I've started, if I enjoy more than 1 glass of wine, which is usually 2, if it's 3, I've really made some bad choices. It happens. But I take a Zyrtec now instead of Advil and drinking all the water. I mean, I still drink all the water. I take a Zyrtec. Boy, is that a game changer. So if you enjoy wine and you're over 40 and you're not overdoing it, I do not condone overdoing it for anyone, obviously, but just a little tidbit, take an antihistamine. It works. I really shouldn't be giving medical advice. Disclaimer, I'm not giving medical advice. I'm just sharing with you what I have learned from the all-important internet and the experts on TikTok. And in my experience, they're not wrong. So there you go. Also, in your 40s, is anybody else working and eating great food during the day? I love food. I love to eat, but I would say I'm an intuitive eater. I'm conscious about what I'm eating because I've just learned, especially at my age, how certain things make me feel and what makes me feel good and what doesn't. And I try to track my macros, and it's so obnoxious. I hate when people get into all of this, you tracking your macros and are you getting enough protein? But I try to be appropriately aware of those things. And something happens to me after 7 p.m. Like, I'm great. Like, all day, I'm like, okay, I feel good. Like, I had a great breakfast. I had a great snack. I had a great lunch. I had a great another snack. Like, I feel good. I have like great dinner. I balance everything because like I like the way I feel when I eat really well balanced meals and great like nutrient dense foods. And then I get to like 7 p.m. and it all just goes out the window. Like I'm talking Sour Patch Kids, squashies, Bubs, Twin Snakes, peanut M&Ms, chocolate chips. I do enjoy just handfuls of chocolate chip, dark chocolate chips. Nestle's dark chocolate chips specifically. They're like a little bigger than regular semi-sweet morsels. Can you see? As if I'm holding one. I feel like regular semi-sweet morsels are like this big, but then when you are like, but then like maybe the size of my fingernail, but then the dark chocolate ones are like the size of my thumb. They're really good. And then, well, anyways, see, after like 6, 7, like if I've not 6, I'm not doing that. I'm not, pretend like that didn't happen. After like 7 o'clock though, I'm like, and it's not just sugar. Like I'll just like everything goes out the window. Why do I do that? Why? Why? And like, I've seen all these things on like, oh, if you're craving sugar, I just like, it's not just sugar, but I do have a sweet tooth. I don't know. I don't really have anything important to say about that. I'm just sharing that this is what I do. And then I go to bed full of chemicals and sugar. And I mean, I'm still standing, so I don't know. I guess it's fine-ish? Question mark? Okay, next point. I, in real time, am realizing certain things don't need to be aired. It's fine. It's nothing bad. Slightly strange and uncomfortable. So I'm not. See the growth? This is maturity. I just want you all to know this is growth. Okay. Additional notes. We have switched churches. My husband and I have decided to attend the church actually where our kids go to youth group and have for years and are very plugged in there. And it was a tough decision, but I feel like when the time was right, the Lord really like directed both of us there and we feel really good. And I'm excited about that because as I've kind of touched on in previous episodes, I have struggled for the past, probably 10 years or more. I mean, we've been married 10 years. I was divorced 12 years ago. So, I mean, for that amount of time, I have had a really difficult time trying to navigate what church looks like and means and community and what that should be and why it's important in my life and why I've felt like it isn't important. In fact, I've felt at times it's detrimental. But I think we've arrived at a healthy spot where we are in a church that is large enough that no one's asking if we're okay if we're not there, which I actually appreciate. Now, some people like the accountability and want people to be reaching out and saying, where were you? How are you? But with at least in this season of life, with the number of people in our household and the things we have going on, college visits, toddlerhood, medical things, family, the list goes on. And it's not a sob story. It's just the reality. And like, I'm very comfortable in that. I'm very comfortable saying, yeah, like I'm not rigid about getting to church on Sunday. We enjoy it. We are in a church now where I actually look forward to going. So that's a big step, but I'm not in a position where I feel guilt or shame or a requirement for other people to see me there. And I think that is something that I had to struggle through for years. And I know that a lot of other Christians do as well. So I'm really grateful to be in the spot that we're in a church that is biblically the teaching is sound. It's biblically sound, a bit different from the way I grew up, but I will say the way I grew up, there's a lot of toxicity there as well. So the traditions that my husband and I grew up in were both very different with both a lot of flaws, but there's a lot of flaws in every church. And so we really had to get to a place where we felt comfortable. I'm just happy about where we're at. I'm thankful. Our kids are really plugged in there, and that is so important. And watching their faith grow is just the most beautiful gift as a parent, as a believer, to see your children have a relationship with the Lord that is not one that you dictated or directed, but one that is very personal to them. It's just amazing, which leads me to my next point, as our oldest, well, as the twins look at colleges, and we've been traveling for that, what an incredible, like, it is so exciting. Like, I want to go. And I want to know how we can figure out Joe and I attending and living on campus and taking part in all of the amazing activities at these schools. Like, I just did it wrong. And I don't know if these kind of colleges existed. Well, let me say this also. Both of the twins are looking at schools that are faith-based, which is so incredible for so many reasons. But going to these schools, like these, I mean, we're going to warmer climates, which we are encouraging. We're like, please get out of this gray, gloomy weather in Rochester. But we're encouraging them, all of them, but because the twins are looking now, it's a very real conversation about, where do you want to be? What do you want to do? What do you want it to look like? And so as we're looking at these colleges, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I just didn't do it right. I mean, I had a great college experience. I will say that I loved my classes. I loved my professors. I went to Nazareth University, which I still don't understand that switch. It was Nazareth College, and I don't understand, but now it's Nazareth University. And I made that decision my senior year for a couple of really dumb, one really dumb reason, one really well-intended reason. The dumb reason was that my high school boyfriend was there. So stupid. If anyone's listening and you're thinking about going to college to a place where you can be close to a boyfriend or girlfriend, don't do it. Please, for the love, do not. Thank you and amen. So I made that decision, which was stupid, but I also simultaneously made that decision because my senior year of high school, my mom was diagnosed with MS. And so that was a very scary, it was just a scary diagnosis. Now, she's done well, and she does not have a progressive form of MS. And so I could have gone away and it all would have been fine, but hindsight's 2020, right? So that is why I stayed local. And, when it came down to it, I was scared. I was afraid to go elsewhere, even though I had looked and fell in love with multiple schools in Virginia, which is where my dad was located at the time. It was just a very loaded decision, but I made the choice I made. And if I didn't, I wouldn't be where I am. So I'm grateful for all of that. However, these schools are like, the one school in Virginia we looked at, holy crap, guys. Like, it's just like Disney World for college. The food's amazing. The campus is amazing. Everything's beautiful. Everything's new. The dorms are gorgeous. Like, no wonder these schools cost six figures. It's just such an incredible opportunity, and it's such an exciting season for them. And, I've really enjoyed the process and just talking through it with them. And as we go through these next 18 months of them finishing their junior year onto like wherever they're going to land, I'm just so excited for them. And I know it can be daunting. It's a lot of decisions for these seniors or for these high school kids. Where do I go? What do I want to do? Who do I want to be? Who do I want to be with? Like, it's a lot. But what I've tried to encourage the twins with is, it's so easy to say as a 44-year-old woman that the joy is in the journey. And it sounds so cheesy and cliche, but it's so true. I'm like, guys, there is something about not having the answers yet that is actually very exciting, right? Because without knowing where you're going to be or knowing what you want or knowing any of those things, you are the anticipation of, but you're going to know. So it's like, but it's like just around the corner. It's just a very exciting time. And I feel like so blessed and excited to be part of the journey with them. And just like, selfishly, it's been great to be able to travel these different places and experience these different cities and areas of the country and like see these campuses and be able to speak to them about, what we're seeing and what our feedback is, but also very much wanting them to, make decisions for them. So it's an exciting time. And I think with having so many kids in the house, it's really good research for us and for the other kids too, because they're only going to benefit from all of this coming year after year. Really, we have 2 juniors, a sophomore, a freshman, and an 8th grader. Ruby's on her own. That's going to be a whole other bag of chips. But for the twins, then it's going to be Liam, then it's going to be Emily, then it's going to be Levi. And it's like boom, boom, boom. and they will have the benefit of the ones that came before, right? And so it's actually a really, really cool reality for them. And it's astronomically expensive for these kids. And so we're trying to, guide them well and help them think through loans and what does life look like for college and after college for them financially and professionally and day to day. And so it's a really exciting time. And so all of those thoughts are always like swirling in my head right now, but those are some of the happy things. And I don't need to defrag that because I don't want to be thinking about it. I actually do. It's just all of these things are in there swirling around. And so I'm just laying them out for you as they come. Speaking of which, I need to get my roots done. I had to switch hairdressers. Can we talk about this also? Why is it so stressful? Like, it's so stressful finding somebody to do your hair that you like the way they do your hair, but then like also you like them and like you like the salon or the environment. And like, I feel like I'm not picky, but this last time my hair was orange, like orange, or as Ruby says, orange. I mean, it was like money pieces orange. And I'm like, I'm 44 and I just wanted I wanted to brighten up around my face. That's not going to do it. So I needed to come home. And luckily my girlfriend, before she moved away, she was doing my hair. She left me some really good product. And so I was able to fix it a little bit. And now I'm super excited because I get to go to one of my best friend's daughter, who is now a hairstylist. And so I get to go to her and support her, which I'm really excited about. But is it not stressful finding somebody and then when you do, like sticking with them and like having grace for like when something doesn't turn out exactly as you want, because it's chemical, like they're not miracle workers, right? But also when something goes like astronomically wrong, egregiously wrong, when something goes egregiously wrong, like we should be able to be like, this is a problem, but I have so much, I just don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. So then I leave. And I just like peace out and cancel my next appointment and don't go back. Oh, I need therapy. I really do. Speaking of therapy, this is really helpful. I haven't been to a formal therapist since COVID, maybe? Nope. Unfortunately, since 2022, which was the worst year of my entire life. Honestly, worst year of my entire life. And I have not gone since. And I feel like lately I'm like, oh, maybe I could use it. Maybe I could use a little feedback because this is very one-sided. So if you'd like to support my need for therapy, maybe give me feedback. I don't have to try to find somebody to get to pay, which like I think therapy is very worth it. And I value that industry. And I actually considered going into it if I weren't this old. Instead, I'm just getting a degree. I have no idea what I'm going to do with those. So there's that. Cool. Joke's on me. But yeah, it's just like, I think we all could benefit from it, right? Like I think everybody has stuff and we all need to work through it. And so thank you for being my therapist for free, if you're still listening, as I defrag my brain, my mom brain. Can we talk about, I'm going back to like health and wellness and all of that. I recently, so right before Ruby, I started dabbling with weight training with a private trainer, which sounds bougie, but it's not. It's just like this guy at a gym. It was fine. But anyways, so like I could learn how to do it. And I was always really afraid of it because I was always afraid of getting like bulky. Like, I don't know why I always thought like, well, if I start lifting weights, I'm gonna be like the Hulk. Like clearly that's not the case. But that's like my own like distorted views of life and growing up in the 90s and wave culture. Anyways, how do you listen to me? How are you my friend? If you're not my friend, do you want to be friends? Just curious. What? So anyways, I started working with him it was 2022, worst year of my life. But after the worst season of the worst year of my life. So I started working with him. Then I got pregnant and I stopped working out and then lifting weights. And I say working out, I feel like it gives me too much credit again for like being like in the gym, like sweating. Like I don't do that. But then I had Ruby, and then after Ruby, I would like do a little here and there to kind of just like get slowly back into it. But I recently, I'd say in the past this year, so since January, have like thrown myself back into it. And when I say that, I mean maybe 2 to 3 times a week, if I'm lucky, 3 to 4 times a week. And I literally just keep weights in my room, and we have a treadmill, and I have some weights in the basement if I'm ever feeling really aggressive, but that's like never happens. It's usually just like right before I put Ruby to bed, I'm like, I'll feel better if I do this, because I actually do. Like, I actually really enjoy lifting weights, like light weight, high rep, whatever. Are we doing this? Are we doing weights? Because I now feel like I'm getting all of these TikToks and different things in my algorithm that are telling me like, oh, you actually want to use really lightweight, high rep. And everybody that's been telling you to do more weight is lying to you, and that's not good for you in your 40s. But then I get these other TikToks. Maybe I should just stop listening to TikTok. Real-time revelations. Everything, like, I'm getting these other ones that are like, no, you need to like keep moving up in weight or you won't gain muscle. Which is it? I just feel like I guess I could go to ChatGPT for these answers, but I would rather hear from you. So which is it? Am I supposed to be doing lightweight, high reps, or am I supposed to be increasing weight, lower reps? This is why I've never done this. It feels so complicated. I just want to I enjoy it. Like, I enjoy the activity of it. So I want to if I'm going to do it, I might as well do it the right way. But what is that? Because there's too much information. There's just too much. There's too much out there. And I can't make sense of it all. So there's that. Also, this whole protein thing. I saw that, I don't watch full episodes of anything because I just never have time, but I've seen clips where I think it was Kylie Kelsey had Alona Mar on her podcast, and they were talking about protein and that everybody's protein obsessed and how ridiculous it is. And I agree. I'm just how do you eat that much protein without feeling like you want to vomit? Don't you need fats and carbs and fiber and it's just too much cottage cheese and chicken. And I eat those things. I eat a lot of Greek yogurt, I eat a lot of cottage cheese, and I eat a lot of chicken because I enjoy it, not because I'm supposed to. I don't eat anything I don't like. So I really enjoy those foods, but also, how are we surviving on all of this? Who's getting 160 grams of protein a day? What? Can't. I just needed to say that. That's just a defrag thing. It's too much. It's too much. And also, protein powder is disgusting. I don't care. I've tried every which way. I've tried different ones just to be like, oh, well, if this is good for me, I should try it. No, I don't like collagen in my coffee. I'm not doing it. You can't make me. There, I said it. I'm not going to do it. It's fine. I feel like I am not part of the cool kids club because I don't put collagen in my coffee, and I put honey and cream half and half in my coffee, and I enjoy it and I love it, and I'm going to keep doing it. And I'm not putting protein powder in my Greek yogurt because it tastes like garbage. It's disgusting. I want to just eat my yogurt with my granola, which I make, which is delicious. And stop demonizing granola too, because it's really freaking good. And especially if you make it at home, it's so easy, and you know what's going in it. And if you want to buy store-bought granola, go ahead. I'm just saying I eat what I want to eat, and I'm tired of you telling me it's bad. So, and speaking of Greek yogurt, okay, we have to mention this. I do like Greek yogurt a lot. I actually even like plain Greek yogurt. I usually use vanilla. The Siggy's brand, in case you're wondering, because I think it's really good. Maybe if this episode gets enough views, more than 10, maybe Siggy's will give me a sponsorship. That'd be cool because I buy a lot of it. I can dream. So anyways, I eat a lot of Greek yogurt. What I can't get behind is replacing mayo with Greek yogurt. There, I said it. All these people that are make your chicken salad, and here's a cup of shredded chicken and a half a cup of Greek yogurt with some lemon juice and seasoning to taste. It's not. It's disgusting. You need mayo. I don't even like light mayo. Just put the mayo in the chicken salad. I bet Bethany Frankel, the chicken salad queen, she's always doing the Lord's work. If you watch her, she's not eating chicken salad with Greek yogurt. She's eating real, legitimate, very mayonnaise-y chicken salad, as one should. These are my PSAs. Else can I vomit onto you today? This episode of Word Vomit comes to you from my basement. I'd also like to talk about eyebrows. It's hard to see here, but my left eyebrow is higher than my right eyebrow. I don't know if it's because I do a lot of this. Historically, I've done too much of this, and now we're just stuck there. But I want them to be even, and I can't. So like, I guess I could do Botox and it would come up like just on my left, but then that would look weird because now nope, we don't want that. And then, but I also don't want to do Botox because I don't want to put that in my body. This is no shade to anyone who does. I have a lot of friends who do. I have friends who administer it, who are professionals. I've had it done one time. I wish I wasn't afraid of the chemicals. I just am. I don't want it. Don't come at me about it. Anyways, so there's that. But then also before I had Ruby, I had my eyebrows microbladed. And so they were good for like a hot minute, but then I needed to go back for the second round. But then I found out I was pregnant, and you can't technically have it done when you're pregnant because it's like a tattoo, which you can't have those chemicals in your body. And you're also not supposed to have it done if you're nursing. And I mean, ashamed to admit this kind of, but Ruby is 2.5 and she's still nursing a couple times a day because I don't have the energy to fight her. It's not because I'm like, oh, but it's such a special, like I'm not one of those people. I'm not like, oh, but it's beautiful and it's a connection. Like I love you if you're like that. That's not me. I'm just too freaking tired to tell her no and argue. So I'm just like, fine, stop, be quiet, go ahead. That's where we're at. Anyways, so I haven't been able to get my eyebrows done. So I fill them in every day. Some days I'm better than others. Some days I just look like a crazy person. Today they're okay. But I just am tired of doing it. And do I have to go get them microbladed and get them done again? Or can I is there something else I can do? I just hate filling them in every day. Also, when you get them done like that, I hate that you have to wait days and days before you can wash them. Like they get crusty and ugh. How are you doing this? Can someone help me? And then when people get them like drawn on, what's that called? What is that called? Like not stain. I don't know. But then I'm just like, I like them to look natural. And I don't feel that always looks natural. I'm going to need some advice on that too. Why at 44? What is that? What are these things? Why can't I just have normal eyelids and eyebrows and no gray hair? And I bought that neck cream on TikTok too. I'm a real sucker for TikTok shop. I don't do it often, but when I do, I really believe it's going to work. And then I'm always disappointed. Guys, if you haven't figured it out yet, this as my therapy isn't doing a great job. So we need some help. Okay. And the final thing I will address, and then I will stop yapping, is just something pretty cool that I wanted to share because I have been doing my degree I'm getting my master's in biblical studies. For those of you who don't know, I don't know if I've I guess I've shared that before, but I don't assume you've listened to all of my episodes nor care. But here we are. So if you're listening right now, FYI, I am getting my master's in biblical studies. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I don't have a plan. I'm hopeful that there will be application, but even if there's not, it's been really, really eye-opening for me as an adult woman who grew up in the church that was highly emotional. My experience in the church and the church system was very emotional and emotive and arguably spiritually abusive. We won't get into that right now, but I didn't really grow up knowing much about the actual Bible and the historical context and the importance of context and what it all means and how it all plays out and the timeline and how Jesus actually was pointed to so much even in the Old Testament and what that looks like. And I'm just learning so much. And if you are watching and you are a believer and that's an area of struggle as well, I just would highly encourage you to get yourself a study Bible and not just read for reading's sake, but read and look at the notes and dig into the history of who the author was of that book, who they were speaking to, because that's really important, right? It's important to understand the context of something. And then in order to understand the message of it, you need to understand all of those pieces that put it together. I mean, there's so many scriptures that we use in Christianity that are this Christian speak that are like, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, Philippians 4:13, right? Yeah. And while that's a lovely thing to cite, it's so misused and so misunderstood. I mean, Paul wrote to the church in Philippi from prison in Rome. And that particular verse he is convincing himself that God is going to help him through a very dark time. And he's relying on the strength of the Lord to get him through a very dark time, which is amazing. And yes, we can do hard things. We can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. And that is a beautiful sentiment. And it is included in the canon of scripture for a purpose. However, it is also often used as we tell each other, oh, you want to open that business? Like, you can do all things. Oh, you want to get your degree while you're raising a toddler and 5 teenagers and running a business and supporting your husband and keeping a household running. Like, you can do all things through Christ. I can do all things through Christ. That doesn't mean he's going to enable me to reach my dreams just because I want to believe anything I want to do, he's going to help me do. Does that make sense? It's like those little nuances. Anyways, maybe that's an obvious one. Maybe that's one most people understand to be misused. I didn't grow up learning the importance of context. And so for me, that has been worth every minute, hour, painstaking Sunday night when I'm up until 1 a.m. writing a paper and stressing about it. It's been like this beautiful experience because I'm just seeing so much about God's word that is new and exciting to me as a help in seasons of difficulty. You know, we just had a family situation in the past couple of weeks with a family member, an extended family member, but a family member, and won't get into details, but basically it was a very scary situation. Somebody was hospitalized, a lot of emotions flying around for our kids and for us and for other members of our family. It was a very scary incident, but thankfully this person is okay and we're grateful for that. But when you're faced with potential tragedy and crisis in the moment, you know, people like to throw verses out there, like I just mentioned, like even Jeremiah 29:11, when people say like, oh, for I know the plans I have for you, I have a purpose and a future. Yes, God has those things for us, but the way we're using Jeremiah's words is just not the same as what they were intended. And so God does have plans for us. I do believe we were all created in his image, and he does have plans for us, but it might not always be good. If you look at examples from the Bible, like I just did a whole presentation on Hosea, who God directed to marry a prostitute, not because he was condoning promiscuity or prostitution, but because he had purpose in that union. He had purpose in the example of Hosea's marriage to show what it looked like to forgive, to show what it looked like to restore, to show what it looked like to redeem. And to me, using Hosea's marriage as an example or as an analogy or as a metaphor for God's relationship with Israel at the time, Israel was, a lot of the people in Israel were turning their backs on God, and they were falling into idolatry, and they were worshiping false gods, and they were heavily into Baalism and all of these terrible pagan things. And yet before Jesus came, like we all point to the cross as Christians and we're like, Jesus came to die for our sins. And so not only that, but he also came to fulfill the law. So Old Testament law and rule in some Christian cultures and traditions, they'll tell you it all went out the window when Jesus died on the cross. And while that's like loosely true, there's still these beautiful moments in the Old Testament that show us that God has continued to pursue his people since long before Jesus. And that truth has been so revelatory for me. And to just see instances like that, like Hosea, like the story of Job. I mean, I'm pointing to all of these things and I don't even know enough about them, but I encourage you to dig in if any of this intrigues you, because it's amazing to me to see stories of, you know, men and women in the Bible, in the Old Testament, that God chooses to pursue. He chooses to redeem and give chance after chance after chance. Even though his law would say, well, you committed this sin, this is the consequence. In order to atone for your sins, there must be sacrifice. In order to, you know, atone for your sins, there must be repentance and a renewed relationship with God through that sacrifice. But he gave them opportunities that they didn't deserve. And so if we look at that even in the Old Testament, this is going to sound, I don't mean to just give credit to Jesus, because that is the ultimate end all be all for us as Christians, but to recognize that Jesus, as part of the triune God the Father, has always been pursuing his people. He created Adam and then Eve as his companion. He wanted to have relationship with us. And so to like see that now, and maybe this is like eye roll to those of you who are Bible scholars, Or maybe this is like annoying for those of you that grew up and like, yeah, I grew up hearing this. I didn't. So for me, this is like, I'm learning so much, not only about the Bible as a historical document, but I'm learning so much about the character of God. And I've needed that. And I think he knew that. So whether I have an application or a formal ministry or position or job that requires me to put this to use, for me, this was like so much a part of my spiritual journey that I'm just like really grateful to have that. And like as much as I can share with you, I will. So if you want to hear more about that also, please let me know, because I'd love to continue to do this podcast. I know it's been a while. I don't know how much you've missed me or if at all. I don't know if anyone's even going to listen. And this is kind of a crazy episode where I'm all over the place, but it just needed to happen for me. So if no other reason, I'm okay with that. But I'd love to continue. I'd love to do interviews. I'd love to have people on that just have questions. Like maybe we have a group. Maybe there's somebody you want to hear from. Maybe you want to offer your time. I'm open to any of and all of it. It doesn't all have to be faith-based. For me, that informs every aspect of my life, as I've said before, and I will continue to say, and I won't apologize for that. But life just keeps on lifing, like I said in the beginning of this episode. And so I think if we can talk about things that are important to you, I want to do it. These are some things that are important to me. These are some thoughts that I've had. These are some things that I'm currently dealing with, and a lot more. But I just wanted to, keep this thing going, give a little resuscitation, and encourage you to respond to me, because I'd love to do more. And I can't make any promises on consistency, but I can make a promise that my heart continues to be to encourage other people and other women specifically. And if I can do that through being ridiculous or vulnerable or honest or being an advocate or just sharing or having others on who know way more than me, I'm happy to do it. So thank you for listening. Thank you for helping me defrag. Thank you for the free therapy. The list goes on and on. I hope to hear from you. Message me, comment, share, post, whatever. And that is not me looking for followers. I just genuinely want to hear back because I want to know what I should do next. So help a sister out. Till next time.